Imagine walking into a small roadside diner, almost hidden from the view of hurried travelers. In the back, there's a man with white hair and a bow tie, carefully preparing a bucket of fried chicken. That man, who you might recognize as the famous Colonel Sanders, is the symbol of one of the largest fast food chains in the world, KFC. But behind that friendly figure and the unmistakable taste of the chicken lies a story that few know, a dark tale marked by disputes, betrayals, and a gas station cook who dared to challenge the global empire he helped create. Today, we're going to dive into how a simple cook, during the depths of the Great Depression, built an empire from a secret recipe. And how, years later, that same man fought with everything he had against the company that made his name famous, in a desperate attempt to preserve the essence of what he believed to be his greatest legacy. Get ready to uncover the dark origins of KFC, the gas station cook who sued a global empire. The beginning in Corbin, Kentucky. In the 1930s, the United States was in the grip of the Great Depression, one of the worst economic crises in history. Millions of Americans were struggling to survive amidst unemployment, hunger, and uncertainty. It was in this bleak environment that Harlan Sanders, a determined and entrepreneurial man, decided to try his luck in a rather unusual business for the time, running a gas station. Located in Corbin, a small town in rural Kentucky, Sanders' gas station was far from major highways and cities, mainly serving drivers passing through on long journeys. At first, the job seemed straightforward, pumping gas, changing tires, and doing minor repairs. But Sanders soon realized he could offer something more to the travelers stopping by. Passionate about cooking, Sanders started preparing meals for the customers who came by. The space was small, and the conditions were modest, but Sanders' culinary talent was undeniable. He set up a small restaurant attached to the station, where he served homemade dishes made with fresh ingredients and, of course, a lot of care. The menu included everything from steak and gravy to pork chops, but it was the fried chicken that quickly became the favorite among patrons. Sanders' chicken wasn't like any other. He spent hours perfecting the recipe, testing different combinations of herbs and spices, until he arrived at the perfect formula, a blend of 11 secret ingredients that gave the chicken a unique flavor, crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside. Word of the chicken spread, and soon people from all over the region were traveling to Corbin just to try Sanders' famous dish. As the success grew, the small gas station restaurant became a gathering spot for travelers and locals alike. Before long, Sanders was serving more chicken than he ever imagined, and his name began to spread beyond the borders of Kentucky. However, success also brought challenges. The restaurant was still a family business, and Sanders insisted on overseeing every detail. He knew that quality was essential, and he didn't want to compromise the standards he had established. But as demand increased, maintaining that quality became increasingly difficult. Expansion and the emergence of problems. At this point, Sanders began to consider an ambitious idea. He was convinced that the unique taste of his chicken could win over people far beyond his small town's borders. However, Sanders knew that achieving this dream would require a bold strategy, expanding through franchises. In the 1950s, already in his 60s, Sanders decided it was time to take that leap. He began traveling across the country, visiting small restaurants and diners, offering them the chance to add his famous chicken recipe to their menus. In exchange, he required a small percentage of the sales. This was the essence of the franchise model that would come to define the future of KFC. At first, the idea seemed promising. Restaurants in various regions began adopting the recipe, and the name Kentucky Fried Chicken started to spread across the United States. The growth was rapid, and soon KFC was present in several cities, attracting a loyal customer base that couldn't resist the unmistakable flavor of the chicken. Sanders, who had started with a simple gas station, was now at the helm of a nationally expanding business. However, as KFC grew, problems began to emerge. Success brought a new reality that Sanders hadn't anticipated: the difficulty of maintaining quality and control over the franchises. Each restaurant operated independently, and not all were willing to follow the strict standards Sanders set. He demanded that the chicken be prepared exactly as he did in Corbin, but the distance and lack of oversight made this nearly impossible. Frustrated, Sanders began to realize that his creation was slipping out of his control. He, who had always been meticulous about quality, now saw his recipe being modified and adulterated by franchise owners looking to cut costs or speed up the cooking process. The chicken, which was supposed to be fried at a certain temperature with specific ingredients, was often served in an inferior way, damaging the taste and reputation that Sanders had worked so hard to build. The situation worsened when Sanders, seeking to ensure the survival of his empire, sold the company to a group of investors in 1964. The sale brought capital and expansion but also distanced Sanders from direct control over KFC. The new owners, focused on maximizing profits, began implementing changes that went against the principles Sanders had established. They cut costs, altered ingredients, and sped up the chicken preparation process, further compromising quality. Sanders, who had sold the company, retained a symbolic role as the brand's ambassador, but bitterness grew within him. He couldn't accept that the chicken bearing his name was being distorted in such a way. The situation reached a breaking point when Sanders, feeling betrayed, began speaking out publicly against the very company he founded, criticizing the quality of the products and accusing the new owners of destroying his legacy. The legal battle. The sale of KFC in 1964 marked the beginning of a new era for the company, but it also ushered in one of the most turbulent chapters in Harlan Sanders' life. At 74 years old, Sanders had traded control of his beloved company for $2 million, a considerable sum at the time. However, the money didn't bring peace of mind. On the contrary, the transition of power soon turned into a bitter battle for the soul of Kentucky Fried Chicken. The new owners, driven by the need to expand quickly and increase profits, began making changes that didn't sit well with Sanders. They cut costs, substituting quality ingredients with cheaper alternatives, and altered the chicken preparation process to speed up service. To Sanders, these changes were unacceptable. He had dedicated his life to creating a product that was more than just fast food, something that represented his passion for cooking and his commitment to excellence. Sanders, who initially maintained a symbolic role as the brand's ambassador, became increasingly vocal in his criticisms. He started visiting franchises and personally inspecting the chicken being served. What he found left him outraged: poorly prepared, bland chicken, a pale shadow of the product he had created. His frustration boiled over into the public eye, and he didn't hesitate to express his disapproval in interviews and public appearances, even going so far as to call the chicken served by KFC a damn shadow of the original. This defiant stance didn't sit well with the new management. What started as disagreements turned into an open war between Sanders and the new KFC owners. Determined to defend his legacy, Sanders decided to take drastic action. He sued the very company he had founded. The lawsuit wasn't just about money, it was a battle for principles. Sanders felt that KFC was violating the values he had fought for all his life. The legal battle was long and contentious. On one side was Sanders, elderly but still full of vigor and determination, fighting to protect what he believed was his moral right. On the other side were the new KFC owners, armed with considerable financial and legal resources, determined to forge their own path without the founders' interference. The lawsuit became a public spectacle, attracting media attention and dividing opinions. Some saw Sanders as a hero, a man fighting against corporate forces to preserve the integrity of his product. Others, however, felt that he should step aside and let the company evolve with the times. Although Sanders managed to secure financial settlements in some disputes, he never regained control over the product's quality. In the end, the company continued on its own path, transforming KFC into a global empire, but at the cost of compromising Sanders' original vision. The legacy. Harlan Sanders may not have been able to maintain control over the KFC he loved so much, but his fight left an indelible mark on the brand's history and the business world. The man who started as a simple cook at a gas station turned his secret recipe into a global phenomenon, overcoming obstacles and challenges that would have defeated many others. KFC became one of the largest fast food chains in the world, with thousands of locations spread across nearly every corner of the planet. Millions of people enjoy the fried chicken Sanders created every day, but few know the true story behind the brand. Sanders' legacy is a powerful reminder that success shouldn't be measured solely by growth and profit, but also by quality, authenticity, and a commitment to principles. Sanders' battle with KFC shows us the importance of maintaining our integrity, even when we're tempted to conform to the status quo or give in to external pressures. His story is an inspiration for entrepreneurs, leaders, and anyone who believes that the true value of a brand or a legacy lies in its ability to stay true to its principles, even in the face of adversity. And as KFC continues to grow and evolve, Harlan Sanders' face remains, reminding us that behind every empire, there's a human story, a story of passion, determination, and above all, a fight for what's right. So, the next time you enjoy a bucket of KFC, remember Sanders' journey. Reflect on what it means to create something that withstands the test of time and the inevitable changes that success brings. Ask yourself, what would you do to protect your legacy? And how can you apply the values of authenticity and integrity in your own life, work, or business? Closing. If you believe in the importance of preserving authenticity and quality in everything you do, share this story and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories that reveal the lesser-known, but deeply impactful, sides of history. Let's continue to explore and learn from the lessons of the past to build a more authentic future, committed to our values.